Next, we're going to close our shoulder seams. And you also do this on the lining, of course. Then we iron apart the seams, obviously. Give it a good press from the outside as well. And now magic happens. We're going to put our lining right sides down onto the bodice, and we are going to close the armhole, the neckline, and the center back. And we can do that in one go. So I think that's quite a nice technique to do this. You also could use stay tape around the armhole, because this was already all interfaced. I did not need to do that. That is not going to go anywhere, but you could of course do that, especially if you say, well, to be honest, I'm just using my Dupion silk and a lightweight lining because I live in Florida and it's so hot, and these are substantial dresses, they're going to be warm. So in that case, you need to put some stay tape around the edges, otherwise it will stretch. But here it wasn't necessary. So you go all the way around the neckline, keep to the same seam allowance. You can of course just do foot width if that's more comfortable for you. That's just a couple of millimeters difference. It doesn't make any difference on the fit. Now make sure you don't catch your ruler loop. You can feel that actually. Sometimes it helps to just like move it out of the way when you get to the corner. I've done so many hundreds of these flower girl dresses, quite literally, honestly, it's not exaggerated. I just know where it is. I used to sell these dresses on Amazon by the bucket load in the summer, and I tell you that I'm just gone on autopilot. I used to throw them together. But the good news is you can make the same sort of standard, really, really nice flower girl dress with a commercially tested pattern that really, really works. So now we're going to snip the armholes just so that we have no tension here. You can also cut back the shoulder seams. You want it as flat as possible. Now we're going to understitch. You won't get very far, but as far as you can go, you should go. So we're going to have the seam allowance facing the lining, and then we stitch close to the seam line here. I'm starting at the center back. I think this is here. Just the key to all your understitching is to really pull the fabric apart. If you are sewing in like loosely, like so it's almost like a little pleat, well, it's not going to do you any favors. You might as well not bother and iron it really well. All understitched, I can now pull through the back. So I go with my fingers to the front shoulder, grab one corner of the back and pull it through. And do the same on the other side, of course. So now I just need to do my ironing. Iron from the wrong side, the inside, the lining side. And this again, this takes quite a long time. I cannot believe that some people would finish an item without having pressed it. It's like, you need to press all the time in between, and that will give you such good results. So people, get out your iron. It really is vital, absolutely vital. So everything fits beautiful. Now we can close the side seam, and we can do that in one go. So you grab your lining and then you fold it open, pin it, and we're going to sew it all the way down. 1 centimeter seam allowance. Just keep your seam allowance here. Now we're going to iron the seam allowances apart, and then you also want to snip right at the top a little bit so you release any tension. I'm not doing that here, or I haven't filmed it. I always do it. You snip either side of the seam allowance just so it's nice and smooth. It's smooth here anyway. Just look at that. Isn't that a most gorgeous bodice already?